Miss Bridgewater, is
Yes.
Harrison on the calendar?
Let me look. Harrison?
Yes, I don't see him on the add-on calendar. I'm just trying to.
No, I don't show him at all. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I spoke with him.
I'm sorry, what Harrison are we referring to?
The one that I added on at the last minute.
Is the first name Noah?
Yeah, it's not on.
He
the
has a
add-on.
private attorney. And I believe that will be handled off the calendar. It has not been accused.
I know I do not show it on the calendar.
That's correct. It's going to be going to diversion. So, and he has private counsel, PD White.
Thank you, Ian.
Just so you guys know, Mr. Harrison is in courtroom 2.
Did we say we were gonna add him to the calendar?
Are we still referring to Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
No, he's not being added because it's not an accused case, and it's going.
Okay, no problem. I just didn't know whether or not
to diversion. So
okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was just a little confused.
Okay, he's sitting in his chair in courtroom 2 right now. We were told to bring him. He was interviewed by Tom.
That's fine. The state will be consenting to a signature bond. I just spoke with his attorney. Again, he'll be going to diversion. It's an unaccused case.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we are going to proceed with the state expedited calendar. These are, let me see if everyone's ready. Excellent. These are cases in which individuals were booked and arrested with certain misdemeanor charges. For most of you, some of the cases have already been formally accused by the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Hence, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge. And I am going to be addressing each of these cases on a one-on-one basis. So first of all, if you have been accused of one or more of these criminal charges, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. And if you can't afford one, we will have counsel from the Public Defender's Office or from the Conflict Defense List to represent you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Your Honor, can we go to South Annex, and she only has one over there, then we can come to courtroom 2?
All right, will do. Thank you. South Annex, is South Annex on? Yes, she is. Hello.
How you doing? We have position number 6.
Okay. And this is Miranda Marie Jackson. Was Miss Jackson on the Zoom when I was reading everyone their rights?
Yes, ma'am. You can read her rights.
All right. Ms. Jackson, my name is Judge Lal. Your case number is 22 CR 004-674G. You have been accused of the following offenses: driving hit and run, failure of the driver to stop at or return to the scene of the accident, The second offense is failure to yield the right of way. Third offense is driving on an expired or no license plate or decal. So you do have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you say, your comments shall and can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. At the present time, we have Mr. White, Tom White, to represent you. Okay, Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Fourth arrest. The previous three is dismissed marijuana possession charges at the PTI. That's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For the hit and run, the state's recommending a $1,000 surety bond. For the failure to yield charge, a $500 surety, and for the license plate charge of $500 surety, that would be a total of $2,000 in surety. Your Honor, on May 6, 2022, Officer D. Greer of the Atlanta Police Department responded to a hit and run at Garnett Street and Ted Turner Drive in Atlanta. Investigation shows the victim, Frances Pickney, was driving her Acura ILX northbound on Ted Turner Drive. Ms. Pickney's vehicle was sideswiped by a Chevrolet Malibu that failed to yield oncoming traffic. After the crash, Ms. Pickney was able to get a picture of the tag and a good look at the driver. Ms. Pickney identified the defendant, Miranda Jackson, in a photo lineup. The defendant's registration was expired on November 4th, 2021. The defendant was arrested, and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state has concerns that she will reoffend while she's out of bond. She does have 4 cycles. She also has an extensive driving history, Your Honor. She pled to speeding on March 2nd, 2021 out of Crisp Probate Court. On March 7th, 2019, she failed to yield the right of way. She pled nolo to that in DeKalb County State Court. December 21st, 2017, driving while license withdrawn and following too close. She pled nolo again in DeKalb State Court. May 8th, 2017, she got a no insurance charge. She pled nolo in Atlanta Municipal Court. And November 9th, 2016, she was cited with speeding, where she pled in Dunwoody Municipal Court. And that's just some of what's on her driver's history, Your Honor. So for that reason, we do feel that the surety bond imposed of the $2,000 total surety bond is more than reasonable for this defendant. Nothing further. Oh, I'm sorry. And the conditions: no contact with the victim, no driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Nothing further.
I think you're muted, Judge.
How did I get muted? Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. White, do you have a response, please?
Yes, Judge. These are traffic offenses. We are asking that Ms. Jackson be allowed to sign her own bond. She's employed with Target. She's been there for some time now. She also has a postgraduate, a certificate degree, and is starting school in the fall to work on her BA. Again, most of the offenses that we heard were 5 to 6 years old. There are 2 within the last 3 years. Again, they're driving offenses. We're asking that she be allowed to sign her own bond at this charge.
All right, thank you. On the hit and run, I'm going to go with $1,000 surety, and the remaining charges are going to be $250 each. Her total bond is $1,500. It is a surety bond. No driving unless she has a valid driver's license, proper registration, and adequate insurance. No alcohol, no illegal drugs. And next court date is August 3rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Excuse me, Judge, that's going to be August the 2nd.
August 2nd, sorry. Did I see that wrong? I'm getting. Oh, you're absolutely right. I was looking at a Wednesday. You're right. It's August 2nd. Thank you.
Excuse me, Judge, is it virtual or do I come in for court?
If you make bond, then we will send you a different date to your current address. And you just need to make sure that the court has your current address. Otherwise, if you don't show up in court, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest. But if you are unable to make bond, then your next court date will be August 2nd.
Okay, can I
Virtually.
verify the address?
Miss Jordan, Mr. Jordan or Miss Bridgewater, I'm having troubles trying to get Odyssey to open up. So if any of you can open up her case and see her demo to confirm her address.
What is your address, ma'am?
3575 Oakville Road, Decatur, Georgia, 30034, apartment 605.
3575 Oakdale Road, apartment number H605? I'm sorry,
Yes.
apartment number 605, and that's
Yes.
Decatur?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
we have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please remember that you're not to operate a motor vehicle unless you have a valid driver's license, adequate automobile insurance, and all that your license plate and all registrations up to date.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, South Annex, did you have another case? All right, that concludes South Annex then. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Honor, can we go to Mr. Noah Harrison?
All right, this is an unaccused case, I understand.
That is correct, Your Honor. I did have the opportunity to speak with his counsel, Mr. Weiner. I don't believe that he'll be attending, but we have worked out a diversion offer, and that is the reason why the case remains unaccused. So the state will be consenting to a signature bond with the following conditions: proof of enrollment to Operation 21 within 10 days, continued therapy that he is currently already enrolled in, 40 hours community service, and a stay away from the incident location, 5938 Roswell Road, located in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Is that the Petco?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. Petco. And I'll explain to counsel as soon as he gets that order sent over and we're able to review it, I will be glad to sign off on it.
All right.
And the case will be referred to our diversion program.
All right, and that was 5981 Roswell Road?
I'm sorry, 5938 Roswell Road.
Sandy Springs, okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Noah Harrison, paying attention? Yeah, okay. You were booked into the Fulton County Jail based on an electronic warrant for theft by shoplifting, a misdemeanor charge. And you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and you currently are represented by Mr. Steve Weiner, who I understand has already conferred with the prosecution. I'm not certain why a bond was not issued on this electronic warrant when one should have been done so. But in the meantime, based on this conference, a bond order will be issued granting you a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Once you are released, you must return to the Solicitor General's office. And Mr. Walker, do you want to give him an address or an email?
Well, I would prefer to communicate with his attorney as far as.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So I am going to make sure that your attorney, Mr. Weiner, sends proof that you have enrolled in the Fulton County Solicitor General's Operation 21 program within 10 days of being released. Those 10 days will include weekends and holidays. You are to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service with any nonprofit agency. And these nonprofit agencies cannot be a school and cannot be any religious organization. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are also to comply with any ongoing medical care or therapy that you are undertaking, and failure to do so may result in you being kicked out of the program and your case being accused and moving forward as a criminal matter. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Walker, do you want me to draft that, or will you?
Well, I asked Mr. Weiner to draft it and to send it in to
Okay.
the court. So
I guess I'll look forward
As
to it
soon
from
as
Ms.
we get an
Wyman.
order, I'm able to review, I'll be glad to sign it.
All right, will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm not sure if you mentioned that stay away address, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, stay away from the Petco establishment at 5981 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. You're not allowed to return to that location. And if you return, you'll be arrested for criminal trespass, which will also bounce you out of this program.
I understand. May I ask the nature of the program we're discussing?
Mr. Walker, if you want to allocate as to this kind, it's a pretrial diversion program.
That's correct, Your Honor. And Mr. Weiner and I have talked in depth, and he's very familiar with the program. So once he's released, Mr. Harrison will be able to talk to Attorney Weiner. He'll be able to provide all the necessary details.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk to your attorney, but essentially it's a program where you're going to be monitored by the prosecutor, where you'll have to comply with certain conditions, including the 40 hours of community service. And once they are satisfied that you've completed the program, they will consider a dismissal or something more favorable for your case.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, next we have position number 4, Mr. John
Okay,
Howell.
thank you. Mr. John Nathaniel Howell Jr. is accused of battery, domestic violence, and simple battery, family violence from June 12, 2021. Mr. Howell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. White.
No, yeah, this is Ed Adams.
Oh,
will
okay.
be representing.
All right, sir. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Edward Adams. And Mr. Toussaint, any priors?
8 total. Last arrest was 2017, driving without a valid license, acquiring license plate for the purpose of concealing ID. Yeah, history out of Florida. He don't have any violence. Please recommend.
All right. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, for the battery, family violence, an $8,000 surety bond. For the simple battery, family violence, a $3,000 surety bond. That's a total of $11,000, an $11,000 good bond. Conditions is no contact with the victim, and her name is Prorodar McCrary. She's on the Zoom right now. It's P as in Peter, RORODAR for the record. Last name is MCCRARY. To stay away from the incident location at 445 Cleveland Avenue Southwest, apartment G84 in Atlanta. That he take a one-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. On June 12, 2021, Officer S. Dedea of the Atlanta Police Department responded to the incident location already on record. In reference to a dispute, upon arrival, the officer spoke to the victim, Miss McCrary, who said her 12-year-old son's father, defendant John Howell, assaulted her. Miss McCrary advised that her friends had come from out of town to visit her. Miss McCrary said she was outside speaking to her friends when the defendant came out and said, quote, "Bitch, what the fuck you going out doing outside," end quote. Miss McCrary responded, quote, "I told you my friends were coming," end quote. Defendant said, quote, "You need to get fucking up," end quote. Miss McCrary said, quote, "I'm coming in a minute," end quote. Defendant said, quote, "You didn't come quicker enough," end quote. The defendant grabbed Miss McCrary by the hair and told her friends, quote, "Y'all sticking bitch need to get the fuck up before I knock the fuck out of y'all," end quote. Defendant then dragged Miss McCrary, after threatening the friends, up the stairs of the building. So they're outside, Your Honor. He drags her up by the hair, up the stairs of the building, into the apartment. And while in the apartment, the defendant began to assault Miss McCrary by punching her in the right eye. Miss McCrary sustained a black eye as a result of the defendant's actions against her. State's witness, the officer, observed the black eye on Miss McCrary. The defendant also trashed Miss McCrary's apartment, which was also observed by the officer. The following damages were notated in the officer's police report because he did observe these: broken dishes and a damaged phone. Miss McCrary said the defendant took her keys and fled the scene in a vehicle with their son. The defendant also took $925 that belonged to her and threatened her via text that he would kill her. Defendant was arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant is a multi-state offender. He has 2 cycles out of Florida and 6 cycles out of Georgia. He has a, I'm sorry, Your Honor. He had a 2013 out of county warrant out of Lake Mary PD, Florida. Also, Your Honor, we are concerned on the victim's safety here, Your Honor, how he treated her in this case. I understand this is a year ago, Your Honor, but these allegations are extremely concerning to the state. For that reason, Your Honor, just the way that he also threatened her friends, not only her, and then just dragged her in plain open public from the apartment building outside, up the stairs into the bedroom, and then proceeded to beat her. And for that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for that surety bond amount of $11,000 and absolutely no contact with Ms. McCrary. Nothing further from the state.
All right, that detailed account, I assume, was from the police report that was drafted by the officer.
Yes, Your Honor, and it also came from the warrant, which was signed by the officer and also was signed by a magistrate court judge.
Okay, so the warrant was issued on March 4th, 2022 at 7 p.m. by an officer, Gregory Smith with APD, who swore out the warrant. And I'm assuming that Officer Smith, because I don't see Officer Smith on the.
Officer Dedea reported to.
Officer Dedea, right. He wrote up the police report. He was the reporting officer at the scene where he spoke to one Peroda McCrary, female. The report was done on June 12, 2021 at 12:15 p.m.
Your Honor, the defendant wasn't on this at the scene, Your Honor. I'm sure the officer had to do further investigation before he took out the warrant, or the agency decided to take out the warrant.
All right. Well, I'm allocating all this because while you were reciting the details of this alleged event, the alleged victim looked a little outraged and vehemently seemed to be in denial of these events. So I'm trying to make sure that the events that you recited conform to the police report that was done soon after the alleged incident on June 12, 2021.
That's correct, Your Honor. We've already spoken to her, and she is denying that any of this happened, Your Honor.
All right, and looks like the officer retrieved damaged items, including a cell phone, and then the allegation of lost keys and lost money in the amount of $925 and damaged dishes. So, okay. Mr. White, did you want the alleged victim to say anything, or did you want to proceed?
Your Honor, she is.
Oh, Mr. Adams, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, she called and expressed a desire to talk to the court, so we'd like for her to speak to the court.
All right, Ms. McCrary, if you'd like to unmute your screen, please, and be seated in one spot.
That did not happen, Your Honor.
Well, that's very, very good, but you're going to have to raise your right hand because I'm going to take this testimony under oath.
This is my right hand.
That is your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may put your hand down. All right, I'm just going to, so it looks like something happened on June 12th, 2021 at about 8:30 a.m. because an officer came out to 445 Cleveland Avenue. And,
yes, ma'am.
And he's got some remarkable details about a lot
That's
of
not what happened, ma'am. That's not what happened.
I'm not interested in, I'm just trying to figure out.
That was a verbal argument. That's all. No one was hurt.
Now the question, next question is, did the officer appear?
Yeah, he talked
Okay.
to both of us. Both of us was there.
So both you and the defendant, Mr. Howell, were
Yes.
present?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. He talked to both of us. Them allegations is not true. He never pulled me. He never hit me. And $920, Lord, where did I get that from? That's who take care of me. We had a verbal argument, and that's all that was. We haven't had an argument since then. It was an incident with a female. That's all. I just said something, and what we just had is changed words. That was it. I don't know where that part come in, where he trashed my apartment. It wasn't my apartment. It was his apartment. I was living with him. He's taking care of me and my kids. No, that's not what happened, Your Honor.
So if the officer has body cam footage, that's exactly what he would show, that you and Mr. Howell were there and talking to him?
Yes, he's separated.
No, I'm asking you a
Yes,
very
ma'am.
simple
Yes,
question.
ma'am. Yes,
If the
ma'am.
officer
I was there.
and Mr. Howell was there.
Yes, he said, I'm gonna go and stay in a hotel room tonight, and you just go back in your apartment. And that's
Okay.
exactly what happened.
All right, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Mr. Adams, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, and I think she was the main witness. I heard information there was another witness, but I haven't seen her come forward. I'd just like to ask if she had, as far as the bond goes.
Please mute your screen, Ms. McCreary.
Oh, mute it. Oh,
I'm sorry, Mr. Adams, you were making a bond recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. She, as she stated, she says it didn't happen. She denies it. We had asked for a signature bond. Mr. Howe has worked at Manham, which is auto auction company, for 6 years. He has one son with Miss McCreary. They have 2 other children Miss McCreary does that he has adopted. She has no fear of him. She wants him to live with her. So we'd ask for signature bond and no violent contact, you know.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, I do want to state for the record, we do have the body camera and we do have the victim speaking to the police officer on body camera. I just reviewed the video, so just wanted to put that on the record. Also, if I could ask Ms. Prodadar McCrary some follow-up questions.
Well, that will be interesting since obviously she's going to deny it all unless you're going to screen share the video, which at this juncture, at this appearance, is going to be a little inefficient. But I'm going to base it strictly on the Ayala factors. And this is my order. On the battery domestic violence, it's going to be $5,000. On the simple battery, it's going to be $2,000. His total bond is a $7,000 signature bond through pretrial services. While he is out on a signature bond, he's to have no further violent contact with Ms. McCrary. He's to have no further violent contact with the simple battery was the young man, wasn't it?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor. It was for dragging her by her hair.
Yeah, so it's the same one. Okay. Well, he's have to have no further violent contact with also the children involved. He is to attend and complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program, and he's to enroll in that program within 30 days of being released. So he'll be reporting to pretrial once a month, and by his second visit, he must confirm with pretrial that he's enrolled in a qualified domestic violence intervention program. It's a weekly classes, and he would have to pay for the classes himself. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. If he owns any firearms, they must be removed from the home, and he cannot have them on his person, in his home, in any vehicle he occupies or anywhere near him. His next court date will be sent to him at his current address. Is that still the Cleveland Avenue address?
No, ma'am.
All right, let me see. I have an old National Highway address. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Your next court date will be sent to you at that address. Any questions about your bond?
I have a lot of questions, but.
And that's why Mr. Adams is there to answer those questions.
I'll be glad to answer your question. Just give me a call, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, Mr. Adams, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we have position number 12, Mr. Washington.
I have Craig Washington, accused of violation of the rules regarding pedestrian and roadway, another charge of pedestrian soliciting rides or business, giving false information to a law enforcement officer. This was on July 18th, 2022. Mr. Washington, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Yes, Mr. Tucson?
22 total. Between Georgia, Florida, and Nevada. Last arrest was in March. Alpharetta on PI charge. November 2021, simple assault. 2021, probation violation. Meth, cocaine, and marijuana possession. Another 2021 probation. 2020, same thing. 2019 shoplifting conviction. 2019 FTAs for the cocaine, meth, and marijuana.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. All right, Ms. Sari, Mr. Washington does have a significant recent history. What's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The current bond is set at $500 on each charge. The state is asking for the bond to remain as set with conditions of no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Your Honor, this defendant was seen walking in the roadway at the Georgia 400 exit near Windward Parkway in Alpharetta. He had a sign soliciting money. And when officers approached him and asked him for his name, he gave the name Clarence Brown, which is clearly false. As we've heard from pretrial, he does have an extensive history. However, I would like to point out, Your Honor, this defendant has been arrested 3 times for soliciting money, at least 3 times in our jurisdiction. And we have dismissed each case, one back in November of 2021, October of 2021, and another in October of 2021. So he does present a significant risk of reoffending. He was just in our jurisdiction 3 months ago, as pretrial has noted, for a PI charge. He does have multiple FTAs in his history. One as recent as last year, and he is a multi-state offender. So the bond is already set at 500 surety on each. We're asking for that bond to remain as set with conditions already stated, nothing further.
All right. So presently, he doesn't really have. Did you all dismiss a charge?
Yes, that was for obstruction.
Okay. But he doesn't have any other open cases. Looks like everything was either time served or null prost.
That's what it appears to be, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Washington is 33 years old, and he has been here in Georgia less than 1 year. He does not have any family members here in Georgia. And originally he came to work at Publix, and yet from about 2 months ago, he lost his job and he has been homeless ever since then. He has 10th grade education, and he does need social worker services visit. So I would like to, I am providing that service, requesting that service. And he does not have any financial means to pay for any bonds. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, then we would like to request for $250 per each charge, $750 maximum surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bond set at $750. It is a surety bond. Stay away from the intersection of Wynwood Parkway and Georgia 400. Thank you. Next court date is August 2nd.
Thank you, Your Honor.
$250 on each count.
Excuse me, ma'am. So
Put
what
your
that mean?
mask
I got,
back on. Put your mask back on.
Put your mask back on.
so that mean I got zero?
No, you got to pay a bond.
Thank you.
Come on, Ms. Watson. Your Honor, I have another add-on. It's actually Mr. Carlos Hill.
Yes, sir. This is the addition add-on case 22 CR 004677J. Mr. Carlos Hill has been arrested from a June 1st, 2021 incident. The charges are driving hit and run, where the driver failed to stop or return to the scene of the accident, an obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Mr. Hill, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors if you have them?
Second arrest, 2014 burglary, first degree. He got first offender for that.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 1st, 2021, this defendant, Carlos Hill, was accused of operating a red Ford Mustang, which was involved in an accident and did fail to immediately stop or remain at the scene of the accident and render assistance or provide information as required by law. He also committed obstruction on said date where he, excuse me, Your Honor, pulling this up, where he knowingly willfully obstructed and hindered Officer L. Klein of the City of South Fulton Police Department, a law enforcement officer, in the lawful discharge of her official duties by fleeing the scene of an accident. Accused did not offer and did not do violence to the officer. Your Honor, I understand he only has but 2 cycles. However, he also has a driver's history. If I can pull it up here. So on August 15, 2019, he was convicted of following too close. He also got a bond forfeiture for that out of Clayton County State Court. Those are dispositions. On December 14, 2017, he was cited for failure to obey signs. And this was out of Jonesboro Municipal Court in Clayton County. This position there is bond forfeiture. He FDA'd for trial on March 4th, 2017. So he's a flight risk out of Jonesboro Municipal Court. He has a seatbelt violation, citation that, and on August 18, 2016, he was convicted in Riverdale Municipal Court and also got a bond forfeiture. And he also was cited for improper turn on July 20th, 2016 out of Covington Municipal Court. That was a conviction and also a bond forfeiture. We are asking for the bond recommendation for the hit and run to be a $1,000 surety bond, for the obstruction to be a $1,000 surety bond. That'll be a total of $2,000 in surety. No driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. We believe that this is different Carlos Hill. My client, Carlos Hill, here at Fulton County right now, he is 26 years old and he has a 6-year-old child. He has a parents and brothers and sisters all living here in Georgia. So he has been here. He is not a flight risk. He also works at FedEx as a forklift operator. His schedule is actually from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. He works almost every day for the last 2 years. And the particular date, this June 1st, 2021, 11:45 a.m., he was working at FedEx. By the way, he and his family members, none of them owns red Ford Mustang. He actually owns 2019 Dodge. So he does not understand how his name and information was disclosed to the officer and accused of this charge. We believe that we have a wrong colors here. We would like to request for a signature on bond since pretrial services also recommended for that. And that's it, Your Honor. I believe Cynthia Edwards, who was arrested on that day together, stated that it was her who drove the car. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, to that, Miss Edwards did say she drove the car. However, upon
Yeah, I saw the
footage-
warrant. I saw the warrant about the video footage, so
Yes, Your Honor.
that's going to be an interesting case to be tried.
Yes, and just to put on the record, they did identify him in the video footage, so I don't believe we have a confusion here, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. On the hit and run is going to be $2,000. Is going to be, and the obstruction is $1,000. It's a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial once a month. No illegal drugs, and that's it. Just no illegal drugs. No driving unless you have a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. And you report to pretrial once a month. If you get arrested again for anything else, unfortunately, the pretrial bond will be canceled and will convert to a surety bond. Your next court date is going to be sent to you at your current address, and we have a Bogota Way as your address. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Okay, that's good then. Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 8, Mr. Demetrius Martin.
Mr. Martin Demetrius, 22 CR 004676J, is accused of loitering and prowling and obstruction of an officer from July 19, 2022. Mr. Martin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
His first adult arrest.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sowry?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers were dispatched to the incident location 250 10th Street Northeast in Atlanta regarding prowlers inside of the parking deck. I'm sorry, one second. The defendant was seen in the parking deck walking around vehicles without a destination. And when officers approached him to investigate, he ran away. Your Honor, this is the defendant's first adult arrest. However, he does have a prior arrest back in 2021 for theft by taking. And I'm sorry, also, he's still 17. He's still a minor.
He is still minor.
Was that prior arrest a 17 of when he was 17?
In 16 or 17. It was just last year.
His date of birth is February 9th. So
And
he just turned 17 in February.
So he was 16 at the time of 2021 theft by taking.
Okay.
The current bond is set as $1,000 surety on each charge. We're asking for the bond to remain as set with conditions of staying away from the incident location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Martin is 17 years old, and he was walking by. He was going home to take at to take a train at train station, North Avenue, and he does not understand. Only thing that he did was when the police, well, he didn't even know that was actually police officers. When somebody jumped out of the car and tried to come and arrest him, he thought he was getting attacked by this stranger. He's just kid, didn't know what to do, and he was kind of afraid of what was going on. I don't think that he did anything wrong. We would like to request for signature on bond. Even pretrial services are recommended for unsecured judicial relief. And I spoke with his grandmother, and who is trying to get his mother to be a co-signer. So hopefully Tinesha Martin, who is Mr. Martin's mom, can come and pick him up today.
Give me that name again, please.
Tinasha, Tinasha Martin.
Okay, thank you.
And he has, yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry, go ahead.
He would like to return and go back to school. He is rising senior at high school, 12th grade.
Thank you. Ms. Sowry, yes?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I failed to mention that the reason the officers were dispatched was because not only did they see this defendant, but they saw 3 other juveniles walking around in the parking deck. And it was prompted from glass breaking. The witness heard glass breaking inside of the parking deck. So that's why they called the police. Nothing.
All right. Thank you. On the loitering and prowling is going to be 1,000. The obstruction is going to be 1,000. It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. We'll need Ms. Tinasha Martin to co-sign the bond.
Yes.
And Mr. Martin is to stay 200 yards away from 250 10th Street in Northeast Atlanta if he returns to that location. And I think we just lost the jail.
Yeah, that name?
Tinasha Martin. I can waive the utility document.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I just wanted the jail to come back on the Zoom.
Your Honor, if her mom is not, his mom is not available, his grandma, can she sign as well?
Sure. What's her name?
Tyronda Thomas, Tyronda.
Tyronda.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. I don't know what we did, but courtroom 2 ran away. So, all right. Ms. Holly, did you get the terms of the bond? It can either be Tinasha Martin or
Tyronda Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And waive the utility. Mr. Tucson will send me the waiver document. And Ms. Kim, your client's address, just to confirm it while we're waiting for the jail to come back on, it's Ormond Street?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll
That is
send
correct.
notice to that location.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just in the interest of saving time, I think position 9 was a waiver of presence. It's probably
Okay.
one, since there is no jail.
Okay, Quentin Potter, 22 CR 004-669J is accused of criminal trespass and obstruction from July 19, 2022. This is position 9. I'm assuming that you, Mr. White, you have advised him.
Your Honor, it's actually not my case. I just remember seeing it come
All right,
through.
Ms. Kim. And Ms. Kim, I'm assuming you conferred with your client and he has waived his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
At this first appearance?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Tucson, any priors on Quinion Porter, position 9?
24 total. Last arrest was last month for trespass and disorderly conduct.
Was that in Fulton County or a municipality?
It was here.
Okay.
Before that was October 2021 trespass. No, September 2021 FTA for obstruction and simple assault.
Okay.
A history out of Tennessee. Last arrest there 2019 aggressive panhandling, 2019 criminal trespass, 2018 disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, public intoxication.
And this was from 2019?
2018, I'm in Tennessee now, yes.
Right. And were they in 2018 in Tennessee?
2019, 2018.
I see, okay. And that's plenty. Thank you so much.
And he also has history out of Louisiana.
Oh my goodness, okay. And how many cycles did you say he had? 24?
Yeah, I count about 24.
Okay, that's good, thank you. Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to the Chevron gas station located at 111 Boulevard Northeast in Atlanta regarding a criminal trespass. This defendant had been panhandling and previously trespassed from the incident location. And regarding the obstruction, he resisted arrest by not giving the officer his arm when he was to be handcuffed. Your Honor, this defendant has criminally trespassed at the same incident location where Judge Mitzi, she just took a plea for time served back last month, June 21st, 2022. That case number is 22 CR 003-598J. Judge Morrow took a plea for criminal trespass at the same incident location where the defendant was given time served. That was back in December of 2021. As we've heard from pretrial, there is a recent FTA from 2021. He does have history out of Louisiana and Tennessee, so he does present a risk of reoffending, and he's a multi-state offender. Your Honor, this defendant keeps returning to the same incident location despite taking a plea deal. The state's recommendation is, the bond is currently set at $2,000 surety on $1,000 on each charge. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety for each charge, or for it to remain as set with conditions of staying away from the incident location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Porter is 35 years old and he has been here in Georgia for about a year. He moved from Arkansas. He does not have any children and his parents and siblings reside in Arkansas, and he has not had a job for the last 7 years. And he graduated from high school. He has 3 months of college experience, and yet he has been homeless for the last 7 years. So we are actually recommending for social worker services visit to do BHET. And we would like to request for signature on bond since he cannot afford any bond at this point. If your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $500 surety bond, $250 per each. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. It's $500 on each count. It's $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Chevron gas station at 111 Boulevard. And that's all we can do. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. His next court date's August 2nd.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, we're going back to courtroom 2. Is that Mr. Martin? Courtroom 2?
Yes, that's Mr. Martin. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. Mr. Martin, we've already established your bond at $2,000 signature bond. Your mother or your grandmother would have to co-sign the bond. Once they've co-signed the bond, you'll be released. You will report to pretrial. Well, let me finish. You will report to pretrial once a month. And if you get arrested again, or you don't comply with the bond, you will come back to jail and your signature bond will be converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. You are to stay 200 yards away. That's the length of 2 football fields from 250 10th Street in Northeast Atlanta. What's the question about the cosigner?
Can you call my grandma?
I already talked to her. So yeah.
It will be mom or grandma. I don't know who you're
I
more
speak
afraid to
with
face.
grandmother.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have position number one, Mr. Joel Chapman.
Mr. Joel Austin Chapman is accused of battery from July 19th, 2022. Mr. Chapman's case is 22 CR 004651C. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Tom White. Mr. Tucson?
Second arrest, 2019 theft by taking dismissed.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, for the a battery charge, a $6,000 surety bond, conditions, no contact with the victim, Emery Gurley. The last name is spelled Gurley. The first name spelled like the hospital. Location, stay away from the incident location at 8468 Creekwood Road in Palmetto, Georgia. That he take a one-day anger management class, relinquish the stun gun dash taser if he still is in possession of it, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. On July 19th, 2022, Corporal Irvin of the Fairburn Police Department was dispatched to the incident location already on record in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, the officer spoke to the defendant, Joel Chapman, who admitted that a verbal dispute had escalated to a physical dispute. The defendant stated the victim, Emery Gurley, got in his face and pulled his knife. The defendant said Mr. Gurley got in his face as he was popping his stun gun that he had in his hand. Once the parties separated, the defendant destroyed the stun gun. Officer observed a small red mark on the defendant's neck that appeared to be a wound caused by Mr. Gurley pushing the defendant away. Mr. Gurley advised the officer the defendant stunned him under his left arm, and he did not strike or cause injury to the defendant before or after he was shocked by the stun gun. The officer observed 2 red and swollen wounds under Mr. Gurley's left arm, matching the design of a stun gun. And this was captured in the officer's body-worn camera. The defendant was arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, although he has 2 cycles, we do have concerns that he will reoffend. He has a record already, and not only that, Your Honor, he will intimidate this victim, Mr. Emery Gurley, while he's out on bond. The fact that he
no evidence that he would do that, Judge. I would object to
and Mr. White, I'll let you respond accordingly. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. The fact that he took out a stun gun at the victim and used it at to the victim, Your Honor, it's just very concerning, and therefore we are asking for that $6,000 surety bond. Whatever your order may be, Your Honor, we do stress that there be no contact with this victim and a stay away. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. White, yes, you are okay. No evidence of intimidation. What else?
Yes, Judge. We're asking that Mr. Chapman be allowed to sign his own bond. He is employed with above all overhead. He's been there for several years. He has 1 other arrest that was dismissed, and that was 3 years ago. No violence in his history. This clearly, in our opinion, is self-defense at worst. And for the state to raise the accusation that they're concerned that they would intimidate the witness is absurd at this point. We're asking him to be allowed to sign his own bond. I do believe he is recommended by pretrial. So I think that'll be it, Judge.
Bond is set at $2,500. It is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. The conditions to the bond, Mr. Chapman, you will report to pretrial once a month. You cannot afford to get arrested again unless, if you do, you will lose your signature bond. You are to have no further contact with Emery Gurley. You are to stay away from 8468 Creekwood Road in Palmetto, Georgia. Upon release, you will undertake a one-day anger awareness program with the pretrial services. And within 30 days of being released, you will update the court with your new address. You can return to the Creekwood Road location one time only with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings, but you're not allowed to remain at that location until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. which means that you cannot carry a taser or a knife, or definitely no firearms. You're to relinquish all these items and make sure they're not in your home, anywhere near you, or in any vehicle you occupy. Your next court date will be sent to you at your new address, so make sure that you update us with your new address within 30 days of being released. Do you have any questions about your bond?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Mhm.
Next, we have position number 2, Mr. Dozier.
Mr. Ilyas Amin Dozier, case number 22 CR 004-662Y, has been accused of battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass. This is from a June 19th, 2022 incident. Mr. Dozier, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. White. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
Heard arrest. 2019 DUI conviction. 2007 battery/simple battery family violence arrest. He's wanted out of Clayton County for harassing communication. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, for the battery family violence, a $4,500 surety bond. For the criminal trespass, a $2,000 surety bond. That's a total of $6,500, and that would be a good bond. No contact with the victim, and the victim's name is Trenice Cooper. The first name is spelled T-R-E, N as in Nancy, I-E-C-E. For the defendant to stay away from 2827 Stonewall Lane Southwest in South Fulton, Georgia. A one-day anger management course, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law while he's out on bond. Your Honor, on July 19th, 2022, the South Fulton Police Department responded to the incident location already on record to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, the officer spoke to the victim, Ms. Cooper, who informed that her boyfriend, the defendant, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce his first name, Ilyas Dozier, was at her residence, and they got into an altercation. Ms. Cooper said the defendant began to get irate while inside her bedroom and began to state things to her that made her feel threatened. Ms. Cooper said she took out her phone and started to record the defendant's actions when he grabbed the phone from her and threw it across the room. Ms. Cooper said while the defendant was attempting to grab the phone from her, she grabbed the defendant by the arm to prevent him from getting her phone, and the defendant struck her in the face. The defendant caused Ms. Cooper's bottom lip to hit her teeth, which caused a small laceration on her bottom lip. As the officer prepared to leave the scene, he noticed a male subject arrive to the incident location and start to pack his belongings from the residence. The officer made contact with the subject, who was identified as the defendant. The defendant advised the officer that he lives at the incident location. However, Ms. Cooper advised that the defendant does not live there, but that they have lived together in the past. The defendant spoke to the officer and admitted there was an altercation, but that it was not physical. The defendant said during the altercation, Ms. Cooper threw a piece of paper at him, which hit his right side of his face. The defendant also said Ms. Cooper struck him on the right side of his face with an open hand. The defendant said Ms. Cooper threw a plastic object at him also, which landed on the middle of his forehead. Upon running defendant's information on GCIC, the officer did get a hit where the defendant was wanted in Clayton County for harassing communication charges stated by pretrial. The defendant was arrested, and all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, if this court can take judicial notice under OCGA 24-2-201, he currently has an active hold in the Odyssey system under the jail screen for an outstanding warrant out of Clayton County Sheriff's Office. That case number is 2021 CW 56095, and he's also labeled as a person with violent tendencies. He currently has no bond for this. Your Honor, and given the fact that he currently has no bond, he has a hold, he is considered a flight risk despite his minimal criminal history. So for that reason and these allegations, Your Honor, as we also do fear he will intimidate the witness in this matter, we are asking for a total of $6,500 good bond with the conditions already stated. Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. White?
Where to start? First, this is his third arrest, lifetime judge. I didn't hear a disposition on the 2007 case. I heard just an arrest. That was 15 years ago. And his only other conviction is for a DUI 3 years ago. No FTAs. I'm not sure where the state gets labeled as a violent tendencies. But we're asking him to be allowed to sign his own bond. He is employed at the Atlanta Marriott. He's been there for some time. He does make a good living. He has a 6-year-old daughter. 6-year-old child that he cares for. So we're asking that he be allowed to sign his own bond.
All right, thank you.
And just to be clear with opposing counsel, that was labeled in his criminal history. That's where the state has gotten that.
Okay. On the battery, domestic violence is 1,000. The criminal trespass is 500. That's a $1,500 surety. To have no further contact with Trinice Cooper. He's to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Cooper and not communicate with her in person or indirectly through a third party, through a phone, a computer device, or even on social media. He is not to return to 2728. I believe it was Stonewall Lane in South Fulton, Georgia. From what I can gather, he does not live there.
Judge, he has an address to stay. That's not going to be a problem.
All right. So he's not permitted to return to that location. And within 30 days of being released, he will update us with his new address because we've got the Stonewall Lane as his address at the present time. So Mr. Dozier, as soon as you're released, within 30 days, make sure that you let us know your new address once you make bond. Unfortunately, once you make bond, you would have to be released to Clayton County to address the outstanding case there. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Y'all, you have position number 3, Mr. Harper, Ronnie Harper.
Ronnie Harper is accused of 2 misdemeanor offenses on July 13, 2022. Mr. Harper, your case number is 22 CR 004-666H. You've been advised of your right to remain silent. I highly recommend that you do not say anything about the facts of the case during the course of this proceeding, which is recorded and live streamed. And you have a right to an attorney, and currently you're represented by Mr. Tom White. Mr. White, have you shown the charges to Mr. Harper?
He's aware of the charges, Judge.
All right, then we will waive sounding and we will not mention the charges. Ms. Tucson, any priors?
Yes. It's third arrest. Last arrest was 1984 for DUI.
Anything after that or before that?
Before that was 1972 for entering auto.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. Am I allowed to state the charges on record, or should we
I
read out?
actually read the warrant. Let's just go with his criminal record history. I understand it's a very serious charge, but let's just go with the Ayala factors, or more likely to reoffend or pose a threat.
Yes, Your Honor. So for the first charge, the VH charge, $10,000 surety bond. For the failure to yield, a $5,000 surety bond. It's a total of $15,000 in surety. I have to say this, no contact with the victim's next of kin, no driving, even if properly licensed, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant poses a risk to public safety. A life has been lost here, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Tortorella, again, let's just go with the Ayala factors.
Okay, this is part of the Ayola factors, Your Honor. This is a public safety concern, and if I cannot state my argument, I would like to break out.
Okay, that'll be fine. Mr. Jordan, please place Mr. White and Ms. Tortorello and me in a breakout room.
And Mr. Walker as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Walker, please, thank you.
Please join as well. May I please?
Oh, Ms. Kim, okay.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Sowry.
And Ms. Sowry. And Mr. White, don't forget him, please. Okay. Mr. Harper, your attorney and opposing counsel from the Solicitor General's office have argued the case in confidentiality due to the nature of this case. Your bond is going to be set at $23,000. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. You are to not consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons or firearms. And you are to report to pretrial once a month, and you're not to have any contact with the Abraham McCamey family. And your next court date will be sent to you at your current address. Thank you. If you plan to retain private counsel to address these matters, please make sure that your attorney files an entry of appearance in this particular case. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I've explained to him that he will need to hire private counsel, and just to make sure he understands it, that bond does not require you to put up any money. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next case, please, Officer Norris.
What's the breakdown?
Oh, it's 20 on the first charge and 3 on the failure to yield right of way. Yes, sir. Who am I addressing? I'm sorry, it's on mute.
Your Honor, this is position number 5.
Okay.
Latif.
All right. We have case 22 CR 004672G. Mr. Latif Isvagbe, is that correct? All right. The incident date appears to be July 19, 2022, in which Mr. Isvagbe has been accused of simple battery, theft by taking, and 2 counts of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Mr. Isvagbe, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. White. Mr. Toussaint, any priors, please?
I counted 16 adult arrests. The Texas arrest was juvie, but he got history out of California and Kentucky. Last arrest was 2022. Probation violation out of Clayton County. He's on probation for ag assault and robbery. In 2017, they gave him 3 years to serve, 7 years probation for those charges. See what we got here. 2021 probation violation for failure to report. I got a 2014 probation, trespass conviction, 2014 out of Henry County. Marijuana possession conviction, shoplifting conviction from 2013. We got PTI for a theft of services, 2011.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For each, we're asking for the bond recommendation to remain as set. They've already imposed $1,000 surety bond for each charge, making that a total of a $3,000 surety bond. Conditions is no contact with the victim. His name is Julian Warren. Stay away from the incident location, which is Chipotle at 718 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta. A 1-day anger management, a theft class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on July 19th, 2022, the defendant Latif Isvagbe did intentionally cause physical harm to Julian Warren by throwing pieces of glass from a broken wine bottle he had and by punching Mr. Warren in the face twice at Chipotle, the incident location. On said date, the defendant did take a food property of Chipotle with the value of $1,500 or less, with the intent to deprive said owner of said property by taking the food that was in the pickup place and taking off running at the same incident location. Again, on said date, the defendant did knowingly and willfully obstruct and hinder officers J. Rivers and E. Brown of the Atlanta Police Department, law enforcement officers, in the lawful discharge of their official duties by going past the officers and not stopping when the officers commanded him to do so. Officers had to push the defendant against the wall to detain him. The defendant was arrested, and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, just for you to know, he has an outstanding warrant out of Kentucky, Lexington Sheriff's Office for larceny. The date of the warrant is May 30th, 2017. That's on his GCIC. Convictions, he's pled to aggravated assault and robbery August 21st, 2017 out of Clayton County Superior Court under the First Offenders Act, which I'm not sure how that happened because prior to that, on October 28th, 2014, he pled to theft by shoplifting out of Stockbridge Municipal Court, and he pled under the First Offender Act, which got revoked. So that's a conviction. On October 9th, 2014, he pled to criminal trespass out of Henry County State Court. He's a multi-state offender. He's been all over 6 cycles in California, 2 cycles out of Kentucky, 1 cycle in Texas, 7 cycles here in Georgia alone. He currently has a May 17th, 22 arrest for taking a vehicle without owner's consent. And this is out of California, Your Honor, and appears to be open. October 20th, 2020, he was arrested for fugitive from justice out of California. It was dismissed. Kentucky, a 2015 theft by retail merchandise charge he was arrested for. He has a VOP out of Clayton just last year. And 2014 VOP out of Henry County. We spoke to the victim who works security at Chipotle. He stated that he was trying to stop the defendant from stealing the food, and the defendant threw glass at him, which it actually caused injury, Your Honor. So we will be upgrading this to a battery. Caused a small cut on his hand, and he has a small bruise under his eyebrow from being punched by the defendant. So for this reason, Your Honor, we're asking for the bond to remain set, as we do believe it's more than reasonable given his record and the allegations. Nothing further.
All right. I know he was given 1 warrant for the obstruction, but y'all have accused him for 2 charges, right?
Correct, Your Honor. So we're accusing him of 2 charges because there were 2 officers involved.
Understood. Thank you. All right, Mr. White.
So just to be clear, the state said there's a total of $3,000 bond, but at $1,000 per charge, I count 4 charges.
Let me correct that. There is a $3,000 bond on the 3 warrants that were issued. The state has added an additional charge, and there's no bond set on that charge.
Well, yes, Your Honor, and thank you, Counselor. So for that, I guess we could split the obstructions 500 each. So that way it'll remain surety bond, so it'll remain the same.
All right.
Okay, and Judge, we would ask, we think $3,000 is a reasonable bond considering the history.
All right. Bond is set at $3,000 total. On the simple battery, it's going to be 1,000. On the theft by taking is 1,000, and each of the obstruction charges are 500 each. It's a $3,000 surety bond to stay away from the Chipotle at 718 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. No further contact with Julian Warren. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. Next court date is going to be set on August 2nd. Thank you.
I'm going to give your mother a call, Mr. Zogby.
All right, please, thank you. There's no possible way I can get a signature bond right now? So
You don't qualify, sir.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have position number 7, Mr. Michael Marcus.
Michael Marcus is case 22 CR 0046618, accused of disorderly conduct, willful obstruction of an officer, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Those 3 charges stem from a July 19, 2022 incident. Mr. Marcus, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. White. I'm sorry, is it Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sorry about that, Ms. Kim.
No problem.
All right, Mr. Tucson.
15 total. Last arrest was April on MARTA probation violation. 2021, trespass conviction, Clayton County. 2020 fugitive from justice out of Alabama. He had an ag assault that he got first offender for from 2015. Burglary conviction 2010. 2008 possession of crack cocaine, simple battery DV, given false name.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. All right. Ms. Sowry, is it?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 842 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta regarding a fight call. The other party involved was Charles Beasley, that's Beasley. He was observed running away from the defendant who was actively trying to fight Mr. Beasley. The officer decided to detain both parties to investigate into the matter, and Mr. Beasley, he complied immediately, but the defendant did not. He became more agitated, and he actually took a fight stance towards the officer, where the officer had to call for backup. The officer, he also had to draw his taser, and then eventually he fired it on the defendant due to his actions. The taser had no effect on the defendant, and when additional officers arrived, the defendant began to kick and fight with them. Officer, I believe it's Pseudo, he then drew his stun gun and had to use it on the defendant to no avail. Your Honor, another officer ended up deploying pepper spray, and then they were able to get the defendant in handcuffs. Due to the use of force, the ambulance was called to the scene, and the defendant had to eventually be sedated to calm him down enough to transport him to the hospital to be treated. As we've heard from pretrial, the defendant does have a ag assault in his history, where he used his first offender. He has a 2021 criminal trespass that was a guilty conviction, 2022 probation violation, and an FTA from 2022 as well. The state believes this defendant presents a risk of flight, a risk of reoffense. He's also a violent offender, Your Honor, especially with the allegations stated above. Officers had to go through many measures just to get him to comply with them. The state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond with conditions of staying away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and that bond is broken down $2,000 on the disorderly conduct and $1,500 on each obstruction charge. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Marcus is 41 years old, and he claims that Charles Beasley was the first initial aggressor. He was defending himself. He has been here in Georgia for 41 years. He has 7 children, and 6 of them are minors. I don't think he is a flight risk. He lost his job about 2 months ago, and ever since then, he has been homeless. So we are actually sending out social worker services to visit him and do the behavioral health evaluation. We would like to request for a signature on bond since his financial situation is not good at this point. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for disorderly conduct, and $500 for each obstruction charge. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bond set at $2,000, $1,000 on disorderly conduct, $500 on each of the obstruction charges. This is a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with Mr. Beasley, I think it was Charles Beasley, and to stay away from the incident location. No illegal drugs and no alcohol, no weapons and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 10, Mr. Ramadan.
Right. Mr. Mambe Ramadan is 22 CR 004671E, accused of criminal trespass from July 19th, 2022. Mr. Ramadan, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to Ms. Kim. All right, Mr. Tucson, any priors?
No,
All right,
this was an SOB jail recommendation.
understood. Thank you. Ms. Sauer?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place at the Columbia Senior Residences at Mechanicsville. That's located at 555 McDaniel Street Southwest in Atlanta. An officer was called by security at the incident location regarding a trespass. The defendant had been previously trespassed on July 12th, July 18th, and additional times from this said property. The defendant is not a resident. This property is for individuals 62 and older, which the defendant is not, and he had been seen at the incident location attempting to stay in the building as well as damaging parts of the building. The defendant was also seen on multiple floors where residents had reported missing packages. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety with conditions of staying away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Ramadan is 24 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. His parents are at a Columbia Senior Residence. He was visiting his parents. He would like to request for signature on bond, signature on bond for per jail, and we would like to continue with that. Thank you, Your Honor.
So his parents are residents at this senior facility?
That's the way I understood, but he was visiting one of his relatives.
And Your Honor, in the report that we have, it states that he's not a resident and he was attempting to stay there. So we don't have any indication that his parents live there.
Which is it, Ms. Kim? Parent or
I
relative?
would like to verify with him because my note could have been mistake. Mr. Ramadan, does your family reside in Columbia Senior Residence?
I apologize, Miss Kim. I meant to tell you that it was my father, not both my parents. It's just my father that stays there.
Okay, just father, Your Honor.
Understood. Thank you. According to Mr. Ramadan's date of birth, 1998, that clearly puts him very far away from being a senior citizen. And is his current address at Eastwick Road in Decatur?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ramadan, is that your current address?
It was.
Okay.
It was. I moved in with my father. Well, I couldn't move in, but I had to because I had nowhere else to go.
Understood. Thank you. Bond is set at $1,000. It is a surety bond to stay away from the Columbia Senior Citizen Facility at 553 McDaniel Street. His next court date is going to be August 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position number 11, Mr. Marquise Walker.
Okay. Mr. Marquise Walker, middle name Devonte, is 22 CR 004675Y. This is an April 3rd, 2022 incident charged with simple battery. Mr. Walker, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
This 10th arrest. Last arrest was 2021, probation violation for marijuana possession out of Coweta County. He got an open case in state court for simple battery DV 20 CR 004359Y as in yellow. 2020 possession of marijuana. That was a conviction. Theft by deception 2019. NOD 2019 theft by taken. Another 2019 theft by taken. History out of Florida. Last arrest there was 2017. grand theft of a dwelling, trespass. Charges were dropped. Got a 2017 trespass conviction. That's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Kim? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place at the Best Western Plus Hotel at 1005 Oakley Industrial Boulevard in Fairburn, Georgia. The officers responded regarding a fight call. The victim in this case, whose name is Rachel, that's Rachell, last name Brody, Brodie. She explained to the officers that she and the defendant, which she describes their relationship as talking. They were in a hotel room that she paid for, and she decided to ask the defendant to leave. The defendant then used the victim's debit card to call a Lyft to pick him up from the hotel, which the defendant did not have permission to do. During this incident, there was an altercation where the defendant pushed the victim and punched her in the face. And when the Lyft driver arrived, the victim informed the driver she did not authorize the transaction, so the driver canceled the ride. Your Honor, there were two independent witnesses to this incident. They were hotel employees. One employee stated that she saw the defendant punch the victim, run away, come back and punch the victim again. We were able to speak with the victim, and she stated that she has a bruise on her nose, a possible broken nose, a swollen eye, and bruises all over her body. This information came after we accused the case, so we will upgrade this to a battery. The victim also stated that the defendant threatened her the day after. She does not want contact with him. As we've heard from pretrial, the defendant does have an open, simple battery family violence case. We were able to confirm that this is not the same victim. However, it is another violent offense. He had a 2021 affray charge that was dismissed. That was not regarding the same victim, but again, it is a violent offense. The state is concerned about his risk of reoffending, as well as being a multi-state offender. And the recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond with conditions of staying away from the incident location, no contact with the victim, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Walker is 25 years old, and he has no relationship in terms of dating or intimate relationship with Miss complaining witness Brody. So we have no objection to stay away and no objection for no further contact either. They do not live together. Mr. Walker has been here in Georgia for 4 years, and his mother and auntie are all here in Georgia. And he's self-employed, doing a subcontraction to build and repair houses. He's been doing that for about a year, and he successfully graduated from high school. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of another open case, which he is presumed to be innocent, we would like to request for $1,000 maximum surety bond, your honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tucson, does Mr. Walker have a Fairburn City hold?
I thought it said hold was off. Let me check and see again.
All right.
I closed Odyssey down.
Okay. On the, with regards to the allegations, bond is set at $2,000. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Rachell Brody, to stay 200 yards away from the Best Western Hotel at 1005 Oakley Industrial Boulevard in Fairburn, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And his next court date is going to be August 2nd. And then Ms. Bridgewater, with regards to the SAP calendar on August 2nd, I would like to reset not only this case, but also the other open case, 20 CR 004. I believe it's 359Y. Let me just double check that.
Excuse me, the warrant says added in error.
Okay, so there's no hold. It's 20 CR 004 359Y. Yes. All right.
Okay, I'll add it.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Walker, do you have a question about your bond?
Yes, ma'am. So what is this case for? They're saying something about a hold and fairing.
I thought you had.
I will
a
call,
hold,
I will
but
call you to discuss and give you explanation.
So once I bond out, I have to go to fairing.
I will call you and explain to you.
Just to clarify, there's no outstanding warrants from Fairburn that we can tell. So the only two cases you have right now are both in Fulton County State Court.
Yes, ma'am. And that's I'm bond for 2,000, correct?
2,000, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we have here in courtroom.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. And for the attorneys, we'll just go down the calendar. The case that's not accused, Harrison, has been given a signature bond through the jail. What was it? Was it 2,000? Was it $1,000?
I didn't write anything down.
Be excused. Courtroom 2.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Walker, do you recall, was it $1,000 signature bond through the jail? All right, we'll find that out.
You may have stepped away.
Did you give a bond?
Yes, it's $2,000 to the jail.
Okay, $2,000. All right. Moving on, position 1, Chapman was a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. Position 2, Dozier is a 1,500 surety bond, reset August 2nd. Position 3 is a 23,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. Position 4 is going to be a 7,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. Position 5 is a $3,000 surety bond for reset date August 2nd. Position 6, Jackson's 1,500 surety bond, reset date August 2nd. Position 7, Marcus is a $2,000 surety bond, reset date August 2nd. 8, Martin is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. I believe I've already sent the waiver to Mr. Tucson. Position 9, Potter is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date August 2nd. 10, Ramadan is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date August 2nd. 11, Walker is a $2,000 surety bond, reset August 2nd. And 12, Washington is a $750 surety bond, reset date August 2nd. The add-on, Mr. Carlos Hill was a $3,000 signature bond to pretrial for the notice.
Your Honor, I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Procedurally, that case is unaccused that we're sending to diversion. Because it's unaccused, it's still in magistrate court, correct? Can you sign that order or?
I can.
Okay.
Any judicial officer can sign those orders, just like any judicial officer can sign a warrant.
Okay, I know you're in state court now and I know things change. I just didn't know that made a difference, but I will submit it.
All right. If you're not comfortable, you can always bring it.
No, that was my only question because I know that at one point, I believe you guys used to be magistrates, but now you're in state court, so I didn't know.
I know I wear so many hats, it's tough to remember which one.
But I will send it over shortly.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Your Honor, is there any way I can send you a felony transfer?
Yes, on a case today or something different?
It's a case that's been on the SAP and it's been reset to the SAP and it's been accepted by the DA's office.
Okay, just let me know the reasons why it's being transferred, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Torello.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Till tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.